What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, and I'm going to be reviewing the film adaptation of The Fault in Our Stars, which stars Shailene Woodley, Ansel Elgort, Nat Wolff, Laura Dern, Sam Trammell, and Willem Dafoe, and is directed by Josh Boone. The plot, which is based off of the novel of the same name and written by John Green, follows Hazel, played by Shailene Woodley, a teenage thyroid cancer victim who is forced by her parents, played by Laura Dern and Sam Trammell, to go to a cancer support group. There, Hazel meets another cancer victim and leg amputee, Augustus Waters, played by Ansel Elgort, and the two patients fall in love. Just to get this out of the way, I have never read the book this movie is based off of before even seeing this, and I've only read one John Green novel, that being Looking for Alaska, a long time ago. But I did have high hopes going into this movie, as fans of the book deeply adore it and say it is a touching story, and the movie itself has a good cast, as the two leads were recently in another book-to-movie adaptation, Divergent, where they played brother and sister, but are love interests here. And that had me somewhat skeptical, as if I was going to have trouble seeing them play different characters here, and if this film would fall into a conventional love story above all. How was it? Let's run down the whole thing. Acting-wise, Shailene Woodley and Ansel Elgort prove that they are some of the best up-and-coming actors in film today, with stellar performances on screen both together and individually, with Woodley providing the heart and soul of the film and Elgort being the brawn and rock of the relationship, with witty dialogue. And that, above all, made me forget that they were playing new characters here, since their chemistry together are just like couples in real life, and it is very quirky, and they play off of each other really well. Nat Wolff plays Woodley's and Elgort's friend who is losing his eyesight from his cancer, and he provides fitting and well-timed comic relief for the audience to crack up at. And Laura Dern and Sam Trammell play Woodley's parents, and it is welcoming to see them have care and support towards Woodley without making things too awkward. While I will not spoil who he plays here, Dafoe's character seemed like an odd addition, as when he was first introduced, he comes off as not being very fitting into the story. And maybe this was probably the intention in the book, but then again, I've never read the book at all, so that's why it came off weird to me, in a way. But overall, I thought the casting and the acting, for that matter, was suitable for the film's plot, and it's just great. Which, I'll get to the film's plot right now. The story here is a nice take on what would happen if two teenagers got diagnosed with cancer, but they also happen to fall in love. And speaking of love, there obviously have been romance films made before this, and there have been cancer movies made before this too. But the growing relationship out of our two leads is such a gradually well-paced relationship, and the payoff makes the film's climax all the more satisfying and dramatically tragic. Yes, I do mean tragic, in that this is a doomed love story from the start. And towards the end of the film, not only was the audience around me getting choked up, but I was too. I can only think of 4 films off the top of my head before this that have had me this emotionally invested, which are Toy Story 3, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, The Dark Knight Rises, and Her. But unlike those movies, however, they were not enough to make me shed real tears of sorrow, as this is probably the first time I have ever teared up in a movie theater, as others around me were sniffing and grabbing tissues up and down the aisles everywhere. Yeah, I can be called out on this and be labeled as a wuss for being so emotional here. And while I am not saying that a movie is excellent if it makes one cry, it does help show how attached one is to the portrayal of characters on screen and how well they have gotten to the audience, like it was magnificently done here. However, like I did mention, this is still a romance movie, and the film does fall into being cliche a couple times, but they weren't too bothersome at all, as this flick is really funny, other than being very touching, as they as this film pokes fun of certain aspects of the situations that these characters are in, and like everything else in this movie with the characters and such, it's well timed. But the only issue that I have, other than the issues I've said before, is really more of a nitpick, because this film ran a little long at over 2 hours, in my opinion, as it could have been cut down to just being 2 or less, but that did not make the film less engaging, as this is a real treat for those who are in the mood for watching a great looking, acted, and sounding love story unfold before their eyes and will make them cry. My final thoughts on The Fault in Our Stars is that though some conventional romance cliches were thrown in here and there, the lead performances here are fantastic. The chemistry is highly believable between our leads, but this film is overall smart, funny, and emotionally investing throughout. Definitely bring tissues to this movie, and I recommend seeing this great film, as this is one of the better romance movies I have seen in recent memory. My final verdict for The Fault in Our Stars is 4 out of 5 stars. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you later on the next movie review.